Most people are obsessed with average. We use wellness as a cover up for being mediocre. If you just do 10% extra work, do a little bit more, you will instantly be ahead of 99% of people because most people just can't be bothered.
What's something you believe about personal branding almost nobody agrees with?
If you're not good at what you do, probably you're not going to build a world-class personal brand. That's why 20-year-old life coaches don't work. They're trying to talk about a thing without being qualified to talk about it.
That's exactly what we speak about on the show, because all podcast conversations and everything, it was always, I've raised 20 million quid from a VC, I've just had a 1 billion exit. That just desensitizes people. It's just normal human beings like you and me. Fully bootstrapped, you haven't gone to a VC firm, it's not as glamorous. On that then, what is the fastest way to kill your personal brand?
Do something.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Nick Langridge, the host of Founders with Nick. We are the only channel on YouTube that speaks to the founder curious, the people that are thinking about leaving their jobs, the 9-to-5ers that don't know how to quit or what to do, or know they want to do something a little bit more than their standard 9-to-5. And we are exactly that channel. We have guests from a wide range of industries, and it's their very first podcast. So you will never see these people anywhere else. Hopefully. So yeah, it's really, really unique. I started this channel because I found other channels being very desensitized. There was £1 million being made and exiting for 2 billion and raising from VC fund. Nobody speaks of cash flow positive businesses fully bootstrapped, and that's exactly who we target. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the channel. I hope you enjoy the show. We try and ask a little bit more hard-hitting questions than usual. And please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Founders with Nick. I'm using the laptop. Feedback I received is that it needs to be a little bit more detailed and more in-depth questions of the surface level stuff. Of course, as a host, I always listen to the audience because you make the show at the end of the day. So we have an absolute corker today. We have a big star. His name's Sam Winsbury. He's a personal brand strategist, content animal. And get this, he's never actually had a boss. No big grad job, no corporate gig, no basic 9-to-5. He just literally went straight from uni to building his own business. Maybe failed beforehand, but we'll get into that. We're going to unpack how that happened, what he got right, what he screwed up, and what he's learned about being seen, trusted, and respected in the chaos of building your name from nothing.
Some prep for that, by the way.
Thank you very much. Sam, welcome to Founders with Nick.
Thank you, mate. Looking forward to getting into this. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, number one, then, I would say is everyone listening is either in a job that they just want to leave, or just they just really want to get out of it. You've never had a boss at all. How the hell did you pull that off?
Well, the story goes back to uni. I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. Actually, even like taking back to sixth form days, I started a blog because my school didn't offer psychology. I wanted to study psychology. They didn't offer it. Started a blog. So I've always had this like entrepreneurial knack, I think. Obviously the blog went nowhere, like about 3 readers. But it taught me the basics of building a website and whatever. So kind of stumbled into like the world of, I guess, online money, we'll call it. Back in the day of sixth form, took that into uni. I still went to uni. So a lot of people, I feel like a lot of young people, if they get the entrepreneurial knack, they're like the uni dropouts. They don't even go to uni. I actually went, completed my degree, studied psychology. Had great fun doing it. But whilst I was at uni, I was trying to build a few projects on the side. I had a few that didn't go very well, naturally. And then by the time I'd got to the end of my studies, I was running a half. It wasn't really a business at that point, but there was enough for me to say, do you know what? I'm not going to go into a job. I'm going to pursue this.
And how did that idea manifest?
So what I was doing at uni is I was basically trying to do any freelance marketing work I could. So I got into marketing through the blog. I kind of had an interest in it. And I would go to business owners around Birmingham where I was at uni. I would be messaging people. I'd be going to networking events, just trying to get any freelance gigs that I could get. Mm. And everyone was like, who the hell are you? You're just this 19-year-old kid. And I was like, fair enough. I get that, right? It was true. But I mean, you should see the state of some of these guys' Instagram pages. Like I knew more about marketing than them. So I was like, right, how do I prove my worth even though I'm young? And as a last resort, I went to the most businessy place I knew, which was obviously LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I started just sharing what I was learning on LinkedIn. Anything that I would learn or do, I would share on there. And you can imagine for a 20-year-old uni student, in the football team. I got battered for it. I got some stick for it. But through that, what started happening was people started reaching out to me, asking for help with their marketing. Not actually too many of the marketing projects I was looking for, but people started reaching out saying, I've seen you posting content. Can you help me build my profile? Can you help me share content of my own? And I was like, yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of helped a few people very ad hoc. This was my final year of uni, second and third year of uni this was. So I did very like ad hoc consulting for a few people. And then, yeah, it just built up. It was very, very casual, but got to the point where when I left uni in 2020, I had because uni came to a finish early because of the pandemic, I had about 6 months of rent saved up just from like uni loans.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what? Let me give this agency thing a go. See if I can turn this into a real business. Do it for 6 months. If it doesn't work, I'll go and get a job. And a few months later, I was bringing on people part-time to help me with the work because I had so much of it.
Positive, yeah, so positive cash flow.
That's how it happened, yeah.
Low overheads. Those are the days. Okay, that's what I think. People listening, I still get a bit of a pit in my stomach when I post on LinkedIn. What do you say to those people that just say, look, there's a lot of people out there just say, just post whatever you want anytime. Yeah. To get started in your own personal brand, because I think that's a big weapon. It's a massive buzzword, isn't it? It's a massive personal brand. Make sure you get the people buy from people. That's all nonsense. What would you say to that individual going, oh, do you know, I really want to, but I'm actually nervous about what other people are going to think?
Get over yourself. Like, honestly, when I first posted, I was shaking. Like, I was absolutely shaking. My hand was like this posting my first piece of content. And the first like 3-4 times you do it, you're like, what are people going to think? And you overthink it massively. By your 20th post, you're firing them off. And now I've personally probably posted a good few thousand times. I don't even think. I don't even think before pressing post. It goes. I think people care way less than you think they do. So you've just got to get over the hump of the first few because it gets way easier.
When did you first feel like your voice actually mattered?
Oh, wow. That's probably when people started reaching out to me saying the advice I was sharing online was actually helping their business and they were seeing results in it and they were actually implementing it. Because when you first start posting content as this like 20-year-old kid, it's pretty low stakes. Like, I didn't really expect anyone to actually listen to it. But when you have people actually listening to what you're saying, you actually have a responsibility, I think, to make sure you're giving good advice because people's businesses are ultimately on the line. So when people started reaching out to me saying, I saw advice and I tried this and it worked, or I'm going to try this, I was like, okay, people are actually listening here.
What a feeling.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. Obviously, a lot of pressure for a 1-year-old kid at the time. Got used to it now, but at the time it was hard. I wouldn't say it was hard to deal with, but it was uncomfortable for sure.
I get that, man. I get that. I still have that.
Yeah.
Another thing I was thinking about, what was obviously the transition from uni to then starting your own agency, everybody else doing a gap year, having a good time probably, and going into 9-to-5 corporate jobs. What was the hardest version of yourself that you had to outgrow in like 15 to 19 to 20? What was like, oh God, Sam, this is holding me back, or like, I need to level up here. Yeah. But what was the hardest?
I don't want to say pathetic, but like, I'd say I was quite young for my age until uni. Like I was terrified of sending emails to business owners. Like making a cold call would cripple me with anxiety. I was a pretty nervous kid, wasn't amazing socially. Getting into the football team at uni helps. You like meet lads that are like you. That helped a lot. But certainly when I started the business, it was this idea of, right, I've got to go out and talk to like serious business owners that are way ahead of me in their careers and they need to trust me. I think for a long time, I didn't have that. I didn't have the conviction in myself or the belief in myself. And that shows, right? Like people can tell. And I think that actually held me back for 1 or 2 years. If I'd mastered that sooner and just my own beliefs about my own identity were much stronger, I think I would have been way ahead by the time I left uni.
What would you have done? Do you think you just would have been like backing yourself more?
Yeah, that's it. Backing yourself 100%. Backing yourself, showing up more confidence, that people can sense that. And it gives other people confidence in you if you've got confidence in yourself.
Do you sense that energy through a LinkedIn post?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you can tell when someone's doing their first few.
I remember I did my very first one ages ago, and it was I was trying to be authoritative, but then also I backtracked because I wasn't confident. So I said something like, cold call's the only way to make a sale, but open to suggestions. And it was a really bad, it was so bad. And I remember my business coach at the time was like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't look great, is it? Please fly Virgin Atlantic, but a BA also has decent seats. I mean, people are going to think like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, if you have nuance in there, or even if you try too hard, it looks like you're kind of desperate for a bit of engagement. Not what you want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So how do you managing? How many clients are you managing now?
Now, at any one time, we'll have 30, 35, maybe 40 tops, which is across the whole business. And that's, we split the business now. We have the agency side of the business and we have the education side of the business. So the agency side is where we're actually delivering work for clients.
Yeah.
Like we're writing content for them, managing a profile, building strategy. The educational side is just teaching them how to do it. On the education side, we've probably only got 10, 15 at the moment. And then agency side, 25, 30 odd.
Okay. And what was the reason for the split?
We started just agency. We're agency for a few years, 3 odd years until the back end of last year. And then we got to the back end of last year and we followed that rule where people are like, one product, one channel, one sales. It's like all of these, it's like the rule of 1 up to 1 million. And we got fairly close to 1 million a year. I was like, actually, this is bullshit because I've got 50 leads coming in every single month, of which maybe 10 are going to be qualified, as in going to even be able to pay for our agency service, and 4 or 5 will say yes in any given month. So I've got 20 or 30 people, roughly, each month, because our lead generation system is so strong that I can definitely help, because I look at the profile and I'm like, this is so easy, I know what to do this, this, and this. But they're disqualified from working us purely on the rate that we charge. So I was like, right, why don't we just take exactly the same thing that we do for people and just teach it instead? So we're not adding loads of extra complexity to the business, but now we have a model that's cheaper for us to deliver. It requires a lot less time, a lot less resource. It's a lot more scalable, but can help the 20, 30 leads that we're getting each month that aren't qualified for our main service. They're happy. We get a load of extra income. They're getting great results. Everyone wins. And I think people shy away from that. Certainly we did, because I was like, people tell you it's going to create loads and loads of complexity. But because we follow exactly the same model, the only thing that changes is the way it's delivered. It's such an easy way to add an extra.
And I suppose the quality control then is just you teaching it onto your staff to make sure it's all like carbon copy and blueprint.
Exactly.
And that's it. And then that's just delivered scalable and scale out.
Yeah. So splitting the business agency and education was purely a symptom of the fact that we have very, very good lead generation. We get a lot of leads each month and a lot of people weren't able to pay for our done for you service. And we wanted to keep it that way. We didn't want to discount it.
Well, you're leaving cash on the table, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
What's something you believe about personal branding that that almost nobody agrees with?
Ooh. I'll tell you the thing I think people are afraid to say is that the number one personal brand strategy is to be really fucking good at what you actually do. Like if I look back at all the clients that we've managed, yes, like I'd love to take the credit and say we were amazing there. Like we did everything perfectly, like top tier from Kurogo. I'm actually like the ones that get the best results. They're just really, really good at what they do. Like they just have the best case studies or they have the best story. I think that's the thing that people are afraid to say because it's harsh. It's like, if you're not good at what you do, probably you're not going to build a world-class personal brand. Like, you've actually got to be good at what you do for people to listen to you. You actually have to have experience, expertise. Because otherwise, why would people listen to you? That's why 20-year-old life coaches don't work, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't think of it like that, yeah. What have you gone through? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Is £1,000.
I think a lot of people are trying to be the 20-year-old life coach when they build their personal brand, even if it's in a different industry, right? They're trying to talk about the thing without being qualified to talk about it.
Why do you think there's an air of personal branding which is a bit like grey?
Yeah, 100%. And it can be quite a fluffy industry at times. Like some of the advice out there is pretty corny. I think probably because of the demographic of people in the industry. Like I'm quite young, right? A lot of my competitors are about my age. There's a lot of shit being talked in the industry, let's be honest.
And do you think you actually need a personal brand?
I wouldn't say you need one because, factually speaking, there are examples of people that have wildly successful businesses and neither of us know who they are. Like, we don't know their names. I was actually speaking to a friend literally the other day who was building his personal brand, stopped, went into a different industry, made a few million and came back. And like, no one would know it. He just hasn't talked about it. So factually speaking, no. But I also can't see a world where having more people know who you are, like you and trust you wouldn't be a useful thing. So my argument is all the success that you've had without building a personal brand, if you had one, you could probably have increased that by 10x. I just can't see a world where a personal brand won't at least be useful.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, unless they have really bad adverse media or something.
Unless
even still, probably
certain industries, maybe like
that guy who WeWork guy, whatever I forgot his name. Yeah, he siphoned off a load of cash, didn't he?
Did he?
Adam Newman. Adam Newman?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it didn't tank. The valuation went up, tanked, and then he siphoned some cash, and then he started a new one and raised more money.
Yeah, that's probably a case where it's bad personal branding rather than personal brand wouldn't have helped.
Yes, okay, fine.
If you're like maybe arms dealers, I can imagine not having a personal brand probably be quite useful.
On that then, what is the fastest way to kill your personal brand?
Ooh, do something like that. Siphon off cash or steal from a charity, probably. Just be a bad person in real life is probably the best way, because there's no amount of LinkedIn posts that are going to make someone forgive you for siphoning cash out your business.
Yeah, fine. Okay, just digesting. What are some misconceptions then, Sam, when you have it? I mean, let's say people listening now usually will want to start their own business, or they're just trying to exercise that muscle. If they go, right, okay, quite keen to start my business, I need to also leverage my personal brand. How would you do it if you had 30 days? If you had literally tenner in the bank and you've got 30 days, a laptop and hyper optic or Wi-Fi?
Number one, figure out the area of expertise that you can use to solve a painful problem other people have. So everyone, if you've had a career of 5-10 years plus, you will have some expertise in a specific area, right? And you can use that expertise to solve problems that other people have. Now, you want to find the most painful problems possible. Let's take you as an example, right? You built up a load of expertise in sales and you use that to solve a painful problem that private market firms couldn't get clients, right? So find out what that area of expertise is for you, apply it to a painful problem people have. If I then had 30 days to make it work, I would post content solving that problem for my audience every single day. I'd probably reach out to 5 to 10 big names within the industry. So if you think of the biggest private market firms you can think of, or the most influential people, just offer to work for them for free and do it for 30 days. It's not glamorous. It's probably unpopular. But if you offer to work for free for 5 to 10 of them, maybe 1 to 3 of them will actually say yes. And you've got yourself an opportunity to deliver great results for one of the most influential people in that industry. Now, the reason you do that and you do it for free is because it de-risks it for them. The biggest problem right now when you start is you don't have income coming in, you don't have clients, you don't have case studies. So make it easy for people to say yes to you at least. You don't have to work for free forever. Say, let's do it for 30 days or let's do it for a week. If you like it, you can pay me. But it completely de-risks it for them. And then all you've got to do is deliver. And then at the end of that 30 days, you're building an audience of people online that knows who you are, they're starting to like you, they trust you, they see you as an expert. You've got one of the most influential people in your industry as a case study. I can't see a world where you don't get more clients from that. And that's exactly how I started.
There you go. Easy.
There's the blueprint.
There's the blueprint. I guess something interesting I saw yesterday was you help everybody build, most people build visibility and credibility. What part of you still feels a bit unseen?
Ooh, in my personal brand, you mean?
Yeah, and maybe your non-personal brand.
Wow. I don't talk about running a business much online. I took my content and the thing people know me for is very personal brand heavy. I've built it's not it's on the grand scheme of things, it's a tiny business, but I built a pretty decent business in the industry, one of the leaders in the industry. And I don't think people realize the amount I've learned about actually building a business, which I probably should talk more about, and the realities and a lot of realizations that around building a business that are realistic, but people are too afraid to say them. I think that's something that I don't talk about too much because it probably wouldn't be beneficial to my personal brand currently, but I think post Kuroga is something that I'll speak about a lot more.
Okay, well, give me some insight now then, while we're here.
Unpopular opinions about running a business.
Well, I don't know, just something which you wanted, something that you wanted to post actually, but actually you can't because of it might be off-piste.
I think most people are distinctly average, and it only takes about maybe 10% extra work to be in the top 1% of people.
Really?
Most people are obsessed with average. We use wellness as a cover-up for being mediocre. And if you just do 10% extra work, do a little bit more, you will instantly be ahead of 99% of people, because most people just can't be bothered, right? So if you can just get over that and be bothered, you will instantly elevate your career. Whether you want to stay in a 9-to-5 career and do that forever, you'll be one of the top earners in your company. You'll keep getting promoted. Or if you want to leave your career and start your own business, you'll be in the top 10%, 1% of business owners just by doing 10% more, giving 10% extra effort. I don't think you have to be like wildly better. You don't have to be born with some special trait. Literally just take the initiative and you'll beat most people.
That's exactly what we speak about on the show, because all other people I interview, all podcast conversations and everything, it was always, I've raised 20 million quid from a VC. I've just had a 1 billion exit. And what that just desensitizes people. It really does. You don't need to build. The great thing about the show, I think, is that it's just normal. It's normal human beings like you and me. Yeah, we're fully bootstrapped. You haven't gone to a VC firm. It's not as glamorous. You build a cash flow positive business, a great life.
I have a 25% success rate as well of starting businesses, by the way. I'm distinctly average. I'm very average. That's the thing, right? I didn't raise loads of money. Didn't get a big loan from mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
Failed 3 businesses before, or 3 business ideas. I think people presume that as a business owner, you're something special. You've got this special trait. I just worked a bit harder.
I mean, Sam, I totally get it. I mean, I was really bad at school. I got 2 U's and an E. Terrible. And that was after the retake.
That is really bad.
Really bad. Sorry, listeners and viewers. And it was really bad. But I was told just for a long time that I was like, you're never going to amount to anything. You can be nothing. Mm-hmm. And it does sort of weigh on you a bit. And then eventually, if anybody's listening now that's always been told that they can't do something, this is your sign to do something. And if you have that itch, if you have that, the pit in your stomach thinking, I feel more, I promise you are. I promise you are. You said you have 25% success rate. Why? You had a bit of a hunger. You tried, wanted to go out alone. The corporate model probably doesn't tick your box. You mentioned that you'd also be a great corporate employee.
I mean, when I left school, I was the opposite to you. I got great grades.
No doubt.
Teachers at school probably liked me. I think reports were great. I would have made a great corporate career, but wasn't to be.
I guess is you mentioned about building a business, and is there any point during the business journey where you thought, right, I've had enough of this? This is like top 2, top 3, where you've been like, do you know what, guys? I think we're going to have to call it a day. This personal branding is a load of shit. I fucking hate it. Post whatever you want. I'm out of here. And fuck your impressions.
There was one point that stands out. It must have been, I think it was 2021. So I'm still pretty early at this stage. No, 2022, because I officially registered in 21. So I think it was the turn of 21 to 22. 2 of my employees had just left. Wasn't completely cool how it all worked out. But so I was pretty miffed, but wasn't going to do anything about it. First week of January, we had I think it was 10K a month of revenue go, which at the time for us was over half our revenue. So that went, and I was like, this is it's like getting punched in the face over and over again. And I was like, right, this is it. I'm going to can it. But I'd already offered a job to someone to replace the people that had left.
Ooh.
I'd offered a job to them on the 14th of December or something. I was ready to quit in the first week of January, but they'd already handed in their notice. They're already joining on the 14th of January. And I was like, I can't do that. I've got to stick it out. Stuck it out, obviously regained the client base. They joined. That was Jake, who is now head of client services and has been with us ever since. So that was probably the closest, and the only reason I stayed was because I'd already offered someone a job who had said yes. Yeah. looking back now, like it was a bit. It's not that deep. Like
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's not that deep, but it's amazing though.
At the time, I was like,
ladies and gentlemen, if you're really enjoying listening to this founder, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I hope you got some golden nuggets from our founder, and I'll let you get back to the show. Do you know, I started my. Do you know how I started my business? So I was on the tarmac on an island in Greece, and I sat down in this EasyJet seat in the middle, and I looked to my left, and there was a Gulfstream GE6000 that had just arrived. Really short, fat guy gets out with this long, like tall, leggy blonde, and I was just like, that looks weird. And I looked at that jet, and I just thought, I'm gonna have to change my life. So I was like, I need to get out of this job.
Middle seat on the.
I know, middle seat. It was delayed, so I started LNGR there and then. I went on Company's House, paid the £75, incorporated June 21st, 2023.
Real.
And I remember thinking, like, this is it. And I started, and I've quit. I've quit a few times. I quit once. I quit once actually.
Yeah.
What
made you come back?
I quit my FX job. No, I didn't. I quit my asset management job. And I was like, stuff this. Like, it was a real dinosaur of a place. Great people, just not like very, I don't know, 20, 30. And started my own business, and I had 2 clients already. They signed. They were like, yeah, we'd love to work with you. I then get a phone call from my previous employer who sacked me saying, do you want to come back? And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just come back. And then went back for 8 months, and I was like, this is just nonsense. Then I just quit. But like, if anybody's listening about like pitfalls and nearly made it, we've all been there. I remember that so well. It was absolute chaos. But interesting how your head of client services really. So essentially, he saved the career. That's what I'm hearing.
Let's not credit him with that.
Come on, son. Come on down. He should be on the show. What's going on?
I'd hate for him to hear it.
Okay. What fear do you still carry? What fear do you still carry when you walk into a room? Do you still get that imposter syndrome you mentioned, or is it a bit more sort of, oh, this is maybe a bit out of my depth?
No, I don't think so, That might sound really, really arrogant, but there are many rooms I walk into now where I'm not like, I can handle myself here. Sure, I felt like the dumbest person in the room on multiple occasions, but that doesn't really scare anymore. If anything, that's a good thing. I think the one fear I have in business is, what if I get complacent, and what if I could have done more? I think that's why I work so hard. It's because I'm scared of knowing I could have given more. And that is a good thing and a bad thing, right? It means pushes me and drives us on. It's probably one of the reasons I've got to where I am. But it means I can't switch off.
Who are you trying to impress?
Probably former me or future me. I don't know. I used to have to impress other people a lot. I think at the start, I definitely started a business to impress other people. 100%, I'll admit that. 100% I started to impress probably people online, friends, family. You get over that, and now it's probably more about just the self-pursuit of better, which is pretty addictive. But yeah, at the start, 100%, I built it to impress other people.
Is that, if somebody listening now was like, oh, the reason I'm building a business is because I want to build it to impress other people. It's a hell of a angle, right?
It's probably easier ways to do it.
So I'm going to impress some people. Come on, we're going to start a business. Furbies are coming back. No, it's interesting. It's interesting. Usually when people, they have like a dark demon, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes they have dark demons to like, I was never good enough with my parents or anything like that, or I failed everything. Yours seems very like, no, I want to be a better version of myself. I'm going to make some money.
I think so.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like, parents are always very supportive. Dad unfortunately passed before I started the business, so he doesn't really know, obviously. Brother, I was always very competitive with. There may be some childhood trauma of competition with my brother, but I'm thankful for that. Like, I think the competition with him has always been a good thing. I was known for a long time as James Winsbury's brother at school.
Annoying.
Which is annoying, but like, again, also push me to be better. And maybe that desire to impress people at the start was unhealthy. Maybe it wasn't the healthiest way to start a business, but it got me to where I need to be. So like, if that's you, I wouldn't overthink it. I would use that dark motivation for as long as you need it.
You know, I ask you something because my dad died 2 months ago. And I think what was really tough is I can't share anything with him. And, you know, we did really well last month and, you know, I was like, this is banging. And he always used to take me out for meals and stuff and give me gifts and. And I think that's probably one of the, like, no, I don't think anybody talks about that really. Like, I would absolutely love just to say, hey mate, like, I think it's actually looking okay so far.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like that?
All the time. Sorry to hear, by the way.
That's right.
I would love just one more conversation. Just say, hey, this is what I'm doing, by the way.
Yeah.
Hope you're proud. Yeah, it would be nice, but it was also one of the hardest things I ever went through and taught me what hard actually is.
Yeah.
So obviously I wish she was still here. I wish the things that happened never happened, but there are elements of it where, given the facts, there's things I can be thankful for. So
it's something which, I think I'm going through it now. Must be 2 months in, right?
Yeah.
So it's not over.
Yeah, strap in.
It is very strange, I think, and coupled with, actually, this leads me on to a good question, actually, which is, I feel like, I'll answer the question for you, but I want to hear your answer. I actually feel like sometimes I'm a bit of a performer, not a founder.
Interesting.
Which is really interesting. And given personal brand is your industry, and there is an element of performance about it. And also you mentioned that you don't really, like, you're not known for your business acumen as such. Do you feel more like a founder, or do you feel more performery?
No, I feel like a founder. I think I'm a founder that has to perform rather than a performer that happened to found a company. Because I was always entrepreneur. It just happened to be the vehicle that I chose was personal brand, which can be performative. And I'll run a load of business after this. This won't be my last. So I think at heart, I'm an entrepreneur and a founder. I'd like to think so anyway. I hate the thought of being a performer first.
I know, it makes me icky, by the way. When I said it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not a performer. What would your team say about you? Maybe a standard question, but what would they say? Bit of a bullbuster, or?
I don't think so. I'm pretty relaxed as a leader. I expect high standards, but like I'm not hounding people all the time. I think I can be upfront when things aren't to the standard I expect, but I wouldn't say I'm like a ball buster. I don't do loads of like the day-to-day leadership and management because we've got the team now. I don't line manage one person. I don't really line manage too many of the teams, so I'm not directly involved. I'd like to think they would say I'm an all right boss to have. I'm pretty nice, but equally, if things fall below the standard I expect, I'll tell you. And I think you should be able to just tell people that's not the standard.
How hard is it finding people, Sam? Because I feel like right now, if anybody's listening, I feel like a fucking recruiter. That's literally all I feel like. Yeah. I don't feel like a private market sales agency. I literally just feel like a recruiter. Where's the next A player? Where's he coming from? How do we get him? Who wants to do this? Because I don't know if you know, we have our model in terms of working is the same as Airbnb. So Brian Chesky, reading about him a lot, really inspired by him. It's 3 weeks remote and 1 week in a location together. So a really niche model, not great for people that have kids. They're like, no, can't take a week, can't go to Barcelona for a week next. Yeah. It's just not going to work with the Sprogs. Really quite, it's quite niche. So I'm struggling, but it's harder than I thought. I thought, build the arc, everybody comes in, but it is actually, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with like hiring A players and navigating those waters?
I mean, good thing for us is we're completely remote. So we hire the best talent, whether it's in London, Manchester, Singapore, anywhere. It doesn't matter where the talent is. We're fully remote. So we just hire the best person. We just did a round of interviews for a content writer position. We had over 1,000 applications. The best one was from India. So we're hiring her. She's brilliant, like heads and shoulders above. The final 3, it was very close, but heads and shoulders above the rest of the applicants. So being fully remote allows us to hire the best talent wherever it is in the world, not confining ourselves to one region, like London, for example. So that's definitely one thing. I think having that, our kind of model is favorable as well, because it works for pretty much everyone. Like unless you hate working from home, it's not going to work for you. If you love an office environment, it's probably not going to work. But I don't know how many people that is right now. Like most people are pretty happy to work from home. So I guess our net is cast very, very wide. And we've built up a bit of a name in the industry. Like the quality of applications we're getting now and the volume of quality applications is better than it was when we first started and no one knew who we were.
Give it a brand equity.
Yeah. We got lucky at the start with some extremely good talent, but there was no strategy to that whatsoever. It was
Just luck.
pure luck. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so how do you manage everybody around the globe? Like, is that not tricky, or is it?
It's a Slack channel, you know?
Hi guys, have you done the work?
It's tough, right? Because you miss that. I'm not completely against the office, by the way. Like, I love remote because we can hire the best talent wherever it is. But I see the value of being in an office because you don't get that, across the table. Hey, by the way, have you done this? Or in future, you should do that. You almost have to like set up a Google Meet or a Zoom call to do that. And then it feels very formal. And it creates a little bit of friction. So I think we do lose that, which is tough to manage. We do in-person socials twice a year. We've got one coming up in a couple of weeks. Don't know when this will go live. I might be on the team Jolly when this goes live. But yeah, we do 2 a year, which brings the teams together, which helps. We do miss a bit of that like in-person casual convo. So we have to work very hard at like building relationships in the team.
Yeah, I understand that. That resonates. Yeah. I think we struggle sometimes at LNGR as well. Okay. The ambition of the firm. It's doing well. Mm-hmm. Are you looking now to really go gangbusters with this? I mean, is that bigger clients, larger retainers? How long have you been doing this? 6 years now, 5 years?
Officially 4 and a bit, unofficially 5, 6, yeah.
So how are you going to level up the business here?
Yeah. So we've nailed, like LinkedIn was the start of how we built, and LinkedIn is still a big part of our work, and we kind of nailed that. Right? What we started doing a little bit more recently is work around positioning. Last kind of 2-3 years, we've really improved our positioning strategy. So actually building a strategy first. I don't think there are many better than us, if any, in the personal brand world at doing it. We've recently introduced building conversion funnels for clients. So once people have followed you on LinkedIn, what's next? Are they attending an event? Are they downloading a guide that you've produced? How are they booking your calendar? How are they signing up to work with you? How are they applying for jobs? So that kind of conversion process after LinkedIn, we put a lot of work into nailing. The next thing for us after this will probably be PR, public speaking. How do we get our clients in major publications on stage? Because those are huge authority builders. So we're expanding the model around this core component of LinkedIn, basically, and layering things on top. And next year, big thing will be PR, public speaking. We do little bits of it. Like we do some reasonable work in the space, but we're not where I want to be. And I think that combined with the conversion will just.
What's currently holding you back at the moment? What's like the big time? Just time?
Because we've tried before where we go, right, we're going to build out a graphics team, a PR team, and a conversion team this quarter. We get to the end of the quarter and we're like, we don't have a graphics team, we don't have a conversion team, we don't have a PR team. So in the last 2 quarters, we've gone, right, let's go hard on conversion and let's really nail the conversion piece. And we've got it in place. So in the next quarter, 2 quarters, we'll do the next thing and really just focus on sprinting on one specific topic rather than trying to do all sorts of different things all in one go.
So these conversion pieces are top of the funnel? What's the conversion piece? Somebody listening now who's like, I have apps. This guy sounds legit, but what the hell is a conversion piece?
So you'll post content on LinkedIn, right? And you post content, you get in front of new people. So you're reaching new people. You're increasing the pool of people that could potentially buy from you. You're also building trust with them. They start to like you. They start to see you as an expert. Maybe they want to work with you. Only about 3% of your audience will be ready to just buy now. And just they'll reach out to you and they'll say, Nick, seen your content, would love to work with you. That's amazing. Brilliant. Of the remaining 97%, some of them will never buy, and that's okay. What we want to do with personal brand is make sure that even the ones that never buy still advocate for you, refer you to their friends. It's probably about 30-35% of people within that remaining audience that will buy. They're just not quite ready yet. And the reason they're not quite ready is because they need a little bit more convincing, a little bit more nurturing. There's only so much of that nurturing and convincing you can do on LinkedIn because it's low commitment, right? You consume a LinkedIn post in 5 seconds on your phone with a cup of tea from comfort of your own home, right?
Yep.
Very low commitment. Spending potentially north of a few £1,000 working with you, very high commitment. LinkedIn isn't enough to bridge that gap. So that's where we need conversion paths. This is like lead magnets, email nurture sequences that bridge that gap between LinkedIn, which is good for building awareness and trust, but pretty low commitment, and actually spending working with you or coming to work for you, like applying for a job, which is pretty high commitment. Conversion is bridging that gap.
Okay, very clear. if the LinkedIn execs are in here with us, why are you laughing? What? No, I'm curious. What if you had their ear? If you generally have the ear in terms of the algorithm, or guys, you need to make the inbox better because it's a terrible inbox.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitchell Tan who's trying to fix that. But what would you say if you had the high execs of LinkedIn around here?
Like, what are you doing with your content? Like so LinkedIn are actually trying to push more business related content. But you go on the feed and there's like 30 selfies in a row saying basically nothing, and then a few leadership platitudes. And it's like, this is destroying what is such a great platform for businesses, because people are getting the wrong kind of perception of it. It's becoming very cringe. I would just tell them, which supposedly they're doing anyway, but I've not seen it yet. Get rid of that. Like, I don't care what people had for dinner. I don't want to see endless selfies. I want a bit of personality for sure. Photos, fine, absolutely. But when you're on your 40th selfie that says, leadership is not a title or something, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
I've seen this a lot before.
I know. I want to say something. I'm going to get a shout. There's a guy on there who I've had to mute. I've just had to mute him. And people probably mute me, fine. But and it was just like, I can't keep looking at this. It's him, I think, with a watch. And it's like built, not bought. And he keeps saying it in terms of his business. And I'm like, and it gets hundreds of likes. Yeah. It gets hundreds of likes. And then everybody's saying, oh, you're a genius. I'm thinking, like, that's not, is that insightful? It's really, there's so much great content on there. Yeah. There's so much great material, but it's just overshadowed by like the 23-year-old posting selfies. Yeah. And then tell you what else is really frustrating is that they have this like game. I keep getting notified about this like game thing. Do you know what I mean? They get a little pop that comes up and it goes, oh, this game thing's happening on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, if you're listening, sort it out. I sound like a bore, but I'm all for personality. Like, I think the platform definitely needs more personality, more fun, but like games, come on. Yeah. Really? I get that. I think it's the wrong demographic. Fine. So you tweak the algorithm a bit, fine. I just tweak what they promote, basically. Also, I mean, the functionality is, they've come a long way in the last 5-6 years, but the functionality, I think, is still way behind. Platforms like Instagram doesn't integrate with many social listening tools, social media schedulers. Some of them work all right. Analytics has improved a lot in the last 2 years, but still very difficult. So I think they need to put the serious content creator first. Just on that, what gets the best results? Written form, written with photo, solo photo, video. So the boring answer is it depends. The podcast snippet answer is, if you want to get the most views and the most followers, do text and image, either like a cheat sheet style image, so an image with kind of step-by-step framework in the image itself. Personal images always perform well. Don't post too many selfies. Try and keep it contextual. Try and reflect the kind of brand that you're trying to build. But yeah, image plus text is the best way. Image plus text. Is that just through trial and error that you found that? Yeah, just like looking at all the data, consistently performs the best. And it will go through phases, right? So back end of last year, if you post a video, you would guaranteed lots of views because they were testing the new video feed. Not many people were doing it. So the basically supply was way lower than the demand. So if you posted, you were the one that got all of if you're like providing some of the supply, you got a lot of demand. Yeah. They went through a phase at the start of the year where carousels just worked really well. It's died off a little bit now, but yes, I've seen these things. Nightmare to make. Yeah. No rhyme or reason. LinkedIn were just like, yeah, carousels, they're going to work now. Yeah, I remember that. At the moment, as we're currently talking, I'm seeing text and image is still the best. Okay, so text them. So anybody else starting out, they've got a little bakery, a little bit nervous, they've listened, they've gone, okay, Sam was nervous too. I feel a bit more conviction now in me. Start posting text and an image, photo of the muffins. Beautiful. Not like that. Okay. How do you, it's been a good conversation so far. How do you level up yourself, man? So look, I appreciate, you're very slick. We get it. You're very good on the written word. You're running a great agency, handsome chap. But what do you do to wake up and think, right, I need to, I understand you're diversifying, going into the PR. It's all really solid foundation building. How do you wake up and think, right, I need to deliver and perform personally? Are you a 4 o'clocker with ice baths? As that guy is who's blowing up at the moment, running with dogs. I don't know where he's running to or from. Somebody tell me. But how do you keep yourself? Yeah, how do you keep yourself fresh and okay, right? I'm a founder, not a performer. I need to deliver for the client. I need to deliver for my team. How do you do that?
Yeah. The basics, right? Try and get a decent amount of sleep. Sometimes, I'm going to be really realistic. Sometimes I don't get great sleep. Last night I was working till 12 and I was up at 6, right? Like it's not, I don't want to create this impression like it's always perfect. When you start a business, you're going to have to work hard. But generally speaking, get good sleep, eat a good diet, limit the amount you drink, right? Those are 3 simple things that anyone can do to perform better. Personally, things that work for me, I like to get up early. I don't do morning routines. I wake up, I shower, and I work. I prefer just to get on with it, typically working by 6 o'clock, 6:30, because I smash through work before anyone else is up. By 8:39, when everyone else logs on, I've done the most important work for the day. And I hate, I don't go to the gym early. I don't do cold baths early, any of that. I prefer just to wake up and work, get the most important work done.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Instant thing.
A simple man.
And then, try and exercise and get to the gym 5, 6 times, 7 times a week. And that's it. Don't need to overcomplicate it.
Well, Sam, we're just coming up to the last 6, 7 minutes. I just wanted to offer you the chance if you wanted to say anything that maybe we haven't covered, or anything you want to say about LinkedIn, personal branding, anybody starting a business or anybody that is going through it. The floor is yours. We have some time. And then you're going to ask me some questions.
Unpopular one, but it's my opinion. Don't quit your day job just yet. If you're considering quitting your 9 to 5 to start a business, make sure the business works. Make sure the business works before you do that. Right? So your 9 to 5 is kind of like your insurance policy. Right? And I was able to make my business work because I had the insurance policy of student loans saved up. It provided an environment where I could take risks and try things. I think a lot of people are very quick just to quit the 9 to 5, try and start the business without knowing that it's going to work first. That's a really bad way it's a really fast way to put yourself in a difficult position and make bad decisions.
Oh God, yeah.
So I would get proof of concept, get a few clients first, and then quit your job.
There we go.
Some people will tell you get out of there as soon as possible, but my take is...
Investors would say, well, how can I back this horse if you're only going to be on it twice a week?
Tip 2, don't get investors.
Yeah.
Not
Bootstrap people.
Anyway.
Bootstraps are great. The agency.
At the start anyway.
Sam, that's all I have. I've got loads more questions, but we've just nearly run out of time. So thanks a lot for that.
My pleasure.
This is the section in the show where you get to ask me
a
handful of questions, 3, 4. We had a couple of people that asked me nothing, so that was deflating. So I'd say leave it with you.
So question 1. What's the one question no one's asked you yet, but you wish they had?
I mean, it sounds a bit soft, but I think I don't know. I do feel like the one question I wish people would ask me was like, how the hell do you do it?
Question 2. How the hell do you do it?
A lot of chaos, but structured chaos. So yeah, we'll have a light framework of things. It is really tough. I do something called Eat the Frog, which is the hardest thing in the day immediately. I don't doubt myself anymore. So I used to doubt myself a lot. Self-doubt is the killer.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it. Okay, fine. You talk to yourself like that, it will happen. But I think just an innate belief, and there's a thing called gap in the gain thinking, which is stop looking about for the next 10, 20, 30K. Look actually where you've come. This time last year, I was selling shoes and ties to pay rent. That was this time last year, selling shoes and ties to pay rent. Now we're doing a good amount of business a month. I don't have to sell shoes and ties.
Do you think you did anything differently? There must have been a turning point, right, between selling shoes and ties to pay rent and where you are today. Do you think you did anything differently, or do you think you were just working hard for a long time?
Positioning. I tweaked the ICP. I hate working. I hated the thought of going back to a 9 to 5. If you've gone through so much shit, why the hell would you then go, do you know what, I should go back? Then what does that shit say? What's that then? Is that just a thing you tell people down the pub? Oh, I did that for a bit. Okay, thanks. I think tweaked our ICP and I kept going. I was like, somebody will need this service. I was like, I just can't, this is going to happen. And then when I actually Googled jobs one day, I was like, maybe I'm just being reckless. And I was like, I'll just Google job. And as I was typing it in, we get an email, email going, hi Nick, I've seen your content, we want to work with you.
Cool.
I went, fuck off. I cried. I was like, there we go. Here we go. I've done it. I've made it.
I bet you're the most desperate person on that sales call.
I remember. No, I didn't. I know. I was just like, what the? But that's it's people. The man above will somebody send you signals, man. People send you signals.
Yeah. Trying to play it cool.
And yeah, tweet our ICP. Anybody listening now, instead of come one, come all, narrow it down. Literally help. If you want to help a plumber, help a plumber. Don't help, plumbers globally. Just literally help like SW6 plumbers. Speak their language, understand them. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the big difference, which is strange because you'd think if I cast my net wide, I'll get more. I'll get more cash.
Yeah,
but actually,
speak to no one. One more, if that's all right.
Please.
What's one commonly accepted piece of, could be life or business advice, that you think is total nonsense?
Oh, it's a great question. That I think is total nonsense. I'm definitely going to get blasted for this. And I think have a mentor. I think having a life coach or a mentor, which is weird because I did have one. Mm-hmm. I do think, it sounds a bit podcasty, I think your gut's pretty good. I think your gut's would I pay Tony Robbins $1 million to help me? No. I actually genuinely think your gut, get rid of the outside noise, maybe check with one person that you're not losing your mind, your spouse, partner, or your, whatever. But actually, I reckon I do feel like we may have all the answers.
Interesting. And
I know that's really controversial because everybody's like, well, you don't have all the answers, you're going to lean on your team and stuff. And I'm like, no, I will lean on the team for day-to-day stuff. But I hired a client and I just knew it was bad news. I just knew in my gut. I don't need a life coach. I was like, this is good. This is going to be tough. This is going to be fucking tough. And it ended up, it was incredibly tough.
Sometimes
So there you go.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Well, if you want to check Sam out, we're obviously offering 50% discounts on his. No, I'm joking. No. Sam, thanks a lot, man. Absolute pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.